Oh, there we go. Yeah, dude, crushed it. Crushed it. That's a good one. On the, oh, dude, get the net on that one. Let me just show you what we're dealing with. We're gonna be throwing 3 different lipless crankbaits today. We have 3 people in the boat, so we're all going to be covering a different one. And I'm gonna break down where you should be throwing lipless crankbaits, why I like to throw lipless crankbaits in the spring, and kind of the subtle differences between these 3 different lipless crankbaits. But we're gonna get to fishing, tie all these up. I think I'm gonna throw the 𝗙𝗹𝗹𝗶𝗹. Jim is gonna throw the Carlsbait and Tackle Thwacker, and my boy Zach is gonna throw this Jenko fishing one. But we're gonna break down why you should be throwing these baits and hopefully catch a bunch of fish along the way. So stay tuned, guys, if you wanna learn about lipless crankbait fishing.
That's one.
Going?
Yep. Little guy.
On the old Carlsbait and Tackle Thwacker, she strikes first. We're fishing this point right here. We're picking it apart with all 3 different lipless crankbaits, and Jim just chucked one right back in this little pocket right here. Caught the first bass of the day. So that's kind of textbook. Pre-spawn conditions, we're fishing this point right here, and the fish are starting to move back, especially since we're on a power plant lake. The water temperatures are pushing 60, 65 degrees, depending on where you're at in the lake. And that fish is kind of up in this little pocket here, kind of a little spawning area. But first fish of the day goes to the Carlsbait and Tackle Thwacker. We're gonna have to see which one of these lipless crankbaits catches the most bass. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is location. And the first area that I like to target pre-spawn bass with a lipless crankbait is the inside of points. That first cove right when you come off of a main lake point, it's one of the first areas that those bass are gonna go and spawn. So as you guys just saw, the first bass that we landed of the day, Jim caught on that Carlsbait and Tackle Thwacker right on the inside of that point right there. So that was probably a pre-spawn buck bass moving up, getting ready to make a bed and get ready for the spawn. So the next clip you're gonna see, we continue to run that pattern and we catch a ton of fish doing it. And then later on in the video, we're gonna talk about some other areas that you guys can target pre-spawn bass. You got one, buddy?
Yeah, I got one.
You got one on the Jenko?
Small.
Dang, dude.
Like a, I'm not sure.
This is the literal same thing that Jim just caught his fish in too. We're fishing another point now, guys, and right in this little pocket, same exact pattern that Jim just caught that bass in. Zach just caught one on that little Jenko fishing lipless crankbait. 2 little bass though. Those are not big ones. That's not what we're looking for, but we are kind of piecing together a little bit of a pattern, it seems like. That is good to see. All the little coves and pockets. A lot of these fish are probably moving up there, getting ready to spawn. But so far we've just ran into those little buck bass. We need to find those big pre-spawn females. So our first pattern worked out. We were running those main lake points, those little inside pockets of the main lake points. We caught quite a few fish doing that, and pretty much every single one that we rolled up to, we would catch at least 1 bass, but we did not catch any big ones. So we decided, instead of catching these little male pre-spawn buck bass, we need to go find out where those big pre-spawn females are living. And the second location that I like to target pre-spawn bass with a lipless crankbait is main lake flats. Anywhere where the contour lines are super flat, leading back into a spawning pocket, a lot of those big pre-spawn females are going to get set up right there, and they're going to move their way back further into the pocket as they move further into the spawn.
That was a miserable year. I told him I'll never do that again.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, dude, crushed it. Crushed it. That's a good one. On the, oh, dude, get the net on that one. Get the net on that one. That's a good one. On the 𝗙𝗹𝗹𝗶𝗹 squad clutch. Oh, yeah, son. Yes, son. That's a 3-pounder.
Bigger than that.
That's what's up. Look at that. And that's exactly how you want them to eat that lipless crankbait. Cross her freaking mouth. So boys, let me tell you, we're out here filming this little lipless crankbait video for you guys, and we do not have ideal conditions. Really, you want wind, you want clouds, and we have bright bluebird skies, and the spot we're fishing right now is flat calm, but that is probably over 3 pounds though, with how fat she is. 3.9 pounds.
Exactly.
Jesus, dude, 3.9, that's a 4-pound bass just about. So boys and girls, that is what throwing a lipless crankbait in the springtime can yield for you too. An almost 4-pound bass, and we have less than ideal conditions right there, but throwing that thing right on this flat right here, a lot of really good sparse kind of grass and these reeds and everything perfect for those spawning conditions that these fish are going to be moving up in and starting to make some babies, as you can see right there. That's a big old pre-spawn female. So we're gonna get her back in the water and hopefully catch a few more fish just like that for you. There she goes.
One of the things I like to look for when I'm going out looking for fish early in the season, that water temperature is in the low 50s. Jerkbaits can be really good when the water's in the 40s as well, but that pre-spawn time when the water's in the 50s, really before it gets to 60 degrees, that's when the jerkbait really shines, when those fish are starting to move up in the shallows, they're a little lethargic, they maybe won't hit a spinnerbait or a chatterbait, but this bait pauses enough to where it gives them enough time to go over there and grab it. Some of the areas I like to look for are main lake and secondary points, and even little flat areas going into spawning regions. A lot of times fish will suspend off of these main lake and secondary points, and it can be difficult to get the right retrieve on a bait that sinks to get it right in front of their face. The nice thing about a jerkbait is you get one that runs to the particular depth where you think the fish are going to be hanging at, suspending at, and you can work it through that depth consistently. The gear you want to get for fishing jerkbaits, you want to fish fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon sinks, it helps keep that bait kind of nose down, slightly nose down, or quartered down. Monofilament floats, so it's gonna make your front of your bait float up a little bit, so that's not what you want. I like to fish it on 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon line. I feel like that's perfect. Most jerkbaits are pretty light. You get some that have some decent weight transfer systems, but a lot of them are pretty light. So throwing it on that lighter line and a medium power rod is gonna be the right rod. Cadence is key with a jerkbait. So when you're throwing the jerkbait out, you want to try to experiment with different cadences. I like to start with a jerk pause, maybe 2 seconds. If that doesn't work, I might go to 4 seconds. It's a little bit colder. And then I'll start experimenting from there. I'll jerk, pause, slow it down, or get more erratic until you start getting bites. Follow these tips to catch more giants on suspended jerkbaits in the pre-spawn.
These conditions right now, overcast with a light wind, are perfect for fishing a spinnerbait. Another thing I really like is that this 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗹𝗶 spinnerbait has that gold willow leaf blade on there. I think that adds a little bit of extra flash when it's overcast, but honestly this is perfect, picture perfect conditions for fishing a spinnerbait. And what I'm going to do is just position the boat probably 20 yards off the bank and just make casts to any sort of wood cover, fish points and any sort of grass with this, and those fish are gonna tell you where they're at when they see this thing, because they're definitely gonna eat it. My favorite thing to do with the spinnerbait is just to fish tight to wood cover and pull those fish out of the wood and really make them react to it. This bait is perfect for spring fishing. So something else I want to show you guys really quick is the 𝗙𝗍𝗋𝗋 trailer hook. So how you put this thing on here is super easy. It has a nice rubber gasket over top of the hook eye. You literally just pin it right through and it's not going to come off over that barb. So a lot of people don't like to throw trailer hooks because they think it's going to get stuck a little bit too much. Personally, I don't really see any difference in throwing the trailer hook and not throwing the trailer hook on getting stuck. This thing is going to bounce right over top of any sort of wood cover that you're throwing it against. When I'm covering water with this spinnerbait, my main goal is to move as quickly as I can down the bank and make as many precision casts as I possibly can. So basically what I'm doing is just really paying attention to the cover on the shoreline, and I'm bringing this thing over top of grass, and then if I see a piece of wood, I'll drop it down in front of it or try to knock it off of it and really cause these fish to react. So I'm pretty much giving it just a steady retrieve back to the boat. Once in a while, if I feel like I'm in open water, I'll give it some pops and stuff, or even when I get close to the cover and I want to pop it a few times. But yeah, that slow, steady retrieve in the springtime seems to work best for me. So as far as my spinnerbait setup goes, I'm throwing it on a 610 medium heavy fast rod. I have 15-pound fluorocarbon line, and it's just one of my favorite setups to throw these 3/8 to half-ounce spinnerbaits on. When you're fishing in super heavy cover, or you're finding the fish are really up in the stuff, sometimes I'll bump it up to 20, and that's just if I really have to pull them out of that nasty stuff. But as far as fishing kind of lighter shoreline cover, the 15-pound fluorocarbon will do.